Hi everyone, my name's Josh Gallagher. I'm MediaCom's Chief Product Officer for APAC, and welcome back to Loop Live for this week. Loop Live is MediaCom APAC's Insider series, and for today's presentation, we are really going on the inside. I've got something really interesting to share with you. Aaron's going to come up from our team in China to share something around discovering some new subcultures in China. So that's going to be really interesting. We look to China a lot for culture, but also technology. But the approach that they've taken to looking at it is something interesting. So you'll get something out of this, not only from understanding a bit more around some of the passions that are emerging within China, but also the way that they've gone about it, which I think is really something that we can replicate in other markets for advertisers and marketers across the region. So now I'm going to hand over to Aaron, who's going to take us through a bit of a presentation, and then they've got a bit of a longer video that we'll go through. I'll come back, ask some questions. If there's any questions, put them in the comments box and we can ask them after the session. So over to you, Aaron.
Thank you, Josh. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Aaron from Shanghai Live. I'm in the client's office. So today I'm so happy to share with you something really interesting about tap into the subculture tribe in China and how we do that via data and go beyond. So let's get the party started. So before we going into the content, I would like to share a bit about myself and why I feel myself like the right person to do this project. So I was born in Hunan province, and then I grown up in the south of China in Guangdong province, and I worked and studied in Beijing for over 10 years. So I can clearly experience like travel across different provinces, live or work there is completely different. So in Hunan, you are speaking Hunan dialect. In Shanghai, you speak Shanghainese, and in Beijing, it's very cultural. In Guangzhou, it's a coast city, very cozy and fun. So we can find that places do have a very great impact on the culture and the people. That's why we wanted to find the correlation between the passion point, the subculture that nurtured by different places. So there's a saying in China that, the next slide please, thank you. 一方水土养一方人. That means like each city will support their own inheritance. So people probably that works across the globe, like people living in Singapore, people living in New York and London is definitely have a different lifestyle, mindset and culture root for their own community. That's why when we discovered this sub-tribe, we wanted to tap into those unknown cities and the small corners around the country to find the most distinctive and authentic subculture tribe that works for the brand growth. The next slide. Why we think that could work in the future is now the digital world has made the world an open book. So people are, before a subculture tribe, when it comes to mainstream, it takes a long time because the news has to travel and people have to know the place and then travel there and advocate about the culture, and then the community grow from there. But now we find that the digital has opened another completely different story and dialogue, which make the subculture tribe easily to spread across the globe or across the nation, and also it breaks the boundary of different culture tribes. So that giving us opportunity to also leverage data and insight to the subculture tribe that potentially can have bigger influence. So here, just give you an example. So hip hop back in 5 years in China is a very, very niche culture. But 3 years ago, there's a variety show called Rap of China, making these subcultures started from regionally famous. So Sichuan and Chongqing, let's share a bit more about the content place. So it's in the west-south of China. So people there are really like spicy food. They live in a colorful life. They love to play mahjong. It's the city of mahjong. And all of them are really, really expressive and dare and willing to express their point of view, their disagreement about the gap between the West and the East, the prosperity and the down-to-earth lifestyles. So it gives a very good springboard for nurturing hip hop. But the game changer is when the reality show bring this sub-tribe to the mainstream view so that everybody knows it. The next slide. So that we can see that now subculture evolved in a faster speed compared to before, thanks to digital and global traveling. So when we look back to like K-pop, when it from a sub-tribe to a mainstream, it takes almost like 10 years or even more. But for hip-hop, as a new culture, it only takes them 3 years to grow to the same scale of K-pop. So when brands tap into this conversation dialogue, we can see a huge benefit and huge impact on their business and communications. So Nongfu Spring is one of the famous bottled water brand in China, and one of the new products, vitamin water, leveraging this show, which made this new brand famous overnight. So you can see a huge incremental in their brand awareness and also the buzz and sales. So by introducing new subculture tribe to the nationwide, it actually inspired people, and of course that can benefit to the brand's awareness and also drive more conversion at the end. So we have another think about how these could impact on our communication and our brand. So this is how like brand are subculture tribe are becoming mainstream. Normally they will experience like seeding when people get to know, some people get to know about it, and they started to nurture and have several communities located in different places. When they all coming together, it has formed a mainstream kind of culture to the nations. And why we looking at the number like 125 million is that's nearly half of the population of Generation Z in China. So when the culture can cover half of the population, that's what we think. That's our definition for mainstream culture. So we can compare with K-pop, how they evolve and experience these 3 stages. So we can see that with the empowerment of digital and all these content travel across the internet, the actual growth of the subculture tribe is being fastened and being shortened. So it takes them only 3 years to become big in China. So the next slide with the example of Nongfu Shanquan, so that we can see. Can we go to the next slide first? We can see brand can play a very different role. Yes. So before, brand is more like waiting. Either if you're a challenging brand, you started to associate with some subculture tribe to sharpen the brand image, or if you are a scale brand, you're leveraging or associate with mass distributed content piece or culture topic so that you can talk to the mass audience. But now, by introducing the subculture tribe to the mass audience, brand can actually benefit more in terms of brand image as well as sales conversion. That's exactly the way that the Nongfu Spring, the vitamin water, being successful. So can we back to the previous slide now? Thank you. Yeah, so in conclusion, when we look at Gen Z or when we're trying to tap into a group of people, they're actually not just, we cannot define them with one culture. They are actually a combination of several subculture tribes. People are all having different passions, inspired by different places that they lived in or traveled. But now internet is giving us the opportunity to define the subculture tribe and give brand a new role that introducing the subculture tribe in a small corner that people doesn't know to the public, to the majority of the Gen Z, which can help brand to build more brand equity as well as to drive more conversion. So that's basically how we changing the way that we build relevance to the audience. So before you are doing market research, focusing on the scale of it, like the impact of the culture tribe, now it's more like you helping the younger generation to detect and discover and introduce the new experience to them. So the next slide. So that inspired us to define like what are the new places for new passions that our brands can leverage and introduce to the majority of Gen Z or to the majority of your target audience. So our sourcing criteria is very simple and straightforward. So we wanted to tap into lesser known cities rather than mega cities, because the majority, the mainstream culture is promoted in mega city quite well. So if we wanted to discover something new and more authentic, you should go lower and beyond those mega cities. The second criteria is there's evidence to prove that it's actually a community forming there. So rather than just one or two people showing their interest or send out signals that they're interested in certain topic, we wanted to make sure it's a sizable community that people actually engage with each other very actively on the topic that they feel interested in. The third criteria is like the possibility to link with the majority of the brand that we're serving. It's promoting positive energy and creates value for the people that can pursue a better and more quality life. So those are the very simple and straightforward criteria for us to sourcing and list down all the subculture tribe that we potentially to work with. And then the next slide, we need to prioritize what's the best we wanted to tap into, or what's the most potential subculture tribe we wanted to work with. So the next slide is it's a matrix to show how we prioritize all different subculture tribes. So here just a example for you to know like how we leverage data and signals to identify and prioritize all the subculture tribe that we list down from the previous steps. So instead of just purely looking at the size of audience, which is referred and demonstrated here by the size of the bubble, we wanted to prioritize the year-on-year growth. So the growth rate is a very important matrix for identifying the next big culture tribe. Because if this tribe is enjoying a 5 times or 10 times growth, it definitely shows great potential than those who grow less year on year. So we can look back into the search data and social buzz data to evaluate that, so we can identify the growth rate of all those subculture tribes to identify the fast growing one as the priority. And another dimension on this matrix is the Gen Z percentage. But when we leverage this model to your business, you can also use it as your target audience percentage in those tribes. Because of course, brands wanted to focus on the people within their target. So within these two matrices, and the size of bubble referring to its current scale, so that we can prioritize like the right hand upper side is the area. Those are the subculture tribe that can giving us most growth opportunity moving forward. So here just some test run for the subculture tribe that we have here in China. So we can see shoegaze is popping out. So that's why our first research started with these emerging culture tribe, what we call shoegaze or dream pop. Some of you may heard of it, some of you may don't. So the next slide, just before we showing our research mini documentary, just give you a little introduction about what it is. So it started and nurtured in Xiamen city. So it's a island city of ease and peace in China. It's in the east coast, so that the people there are really living a really chilled and low-paced kind of lifestyle. And then they also inspired and loved the shoegaze, that matching the feeling of the city and their lifestyle. So what we're trying to do, or dig out the core of that subculture tribe that we can leverage and really understand and establish a real dialogue and conversation. We actually walk into the community, have an interview and deep dive kind of immersive experience with the person, Chen Zhenchao. So he is a musician, has found 3 shoegaze band in Xiamen already. So he's actually one of the pioneer driving the community growth in Xiamen. So he himself is a Xiamen native. Later in the mini documentary, you guys will see him talking about his lifestyle, how he started, and what's his vision for himself and his community. And what's good about it is that we actually engage with the band and the friends and people that he engaged with. And the lifestyle are quite similar, but we can find something really interesting. They're living in a very wealthy city, but their lifestyle is very chill, and their idealism is what we found can represent part of the Gen Z that they really wanted to stick with what they're passionate about, regardless the competition out there or the fast pace of mega cities. What they wanted to do is just to stay tuned to themselves, living in the idealism in their lifestyle. So when they walked out, when they perform their music to the people around them, they immediately know that's Xiamen. So they get a lot of fans in Shanghai, in Beijing, and actually shoegaze have a huge fan base in Japan. Without surprise, it's like all very fast-paced mega cities have a very intensified competitions. So that's where this kind of idealism or chill or slower down the pace, slower down, chasing the competition or the material. Instead of doing that, just focusing on what you really wanted to do and enjoyed it. It's something that we find the insight behind this subculture tribe that can actually tap into and amplify and introduce. It's the right angle to introduce this to the mass audience groups. So later on, I will show you the mini documentary that we made by doing this immersive kind of research, so that you can get a sense of like how the lifestyle, how Xiamen looks like, as well as to get a taste of what shoegaze stand for and the lifestyle and feeling of it. So for the record, this is the first time we're showing the mini documentary. So all the participants here today is the first audience groups that have a look at this mini documentary, which is quite interesting. I hope you find it interesting to watch and inspired.
理想生活状态就是做音乐能赚很多钱，然后买辆敞篷跑车，然后就每天开跑车，然后做音乐，出去演出，这就是理想的状态，很肤浅的。第一次听到 Dream Pop 跟 Shoegaze 这种风格，大概是18多一点。我刚上大一，然后当时就是网络上没有那么多渠道可以听到这种风格的音乐。然后当时厦门还是有这种卖打口碟唱片的文化，然后当时是偶然之间买到了一张专辑，叫做 Magic Star。当时买的第一张专辑就是这种风格，就是这一张。然后听了之后就特别着迷，然后才去听到别的类似这种风格的音乐。闭上眼睛，失去身体，就听到了之后，当时就觉得说，听起来就跟我之前接触的摇滚完全不一样，就觉得真的特别放松，特别美。然后我就觉得好像有点找到本命的感觉。然后我听 shoegaze 我就会想到就是那种小时候看动漫里面的那种场景，就是天空很蓝，然后房子矮矮的，然后火车这样子开过去，然后骑着车在海边走啊这样子，就是你听了之后，你可能会让你一下之间想到你曾经很美好，那就特别美好的事情。就比方说我小时候就会想到我小时候跟我爸妈在那个海边玩啊，游泳啊什么，然后游泳还被呛到啊什么，就会想到很多细节。
就是听 showcase 的时候，可能脑海中的图像就是比较抽象的一个感觉吧，就不会说是一个特别具象的画面，它可能关联到很多图像的重叠啊，或者是一些比较模糊的视觉的感觉。The White Tulips 就是我们吉他手之前的那一个乐队，就是我当时也是15、16年刚接触的时候，我就知道啊，厦门原来有这样一支乐队啊。我当时大学的时候在上海宿舍听的时候，我真的就是眼眶有点湿润，真的就是有想家的感觉那样子的，所以，
留下了那根烟，无聊的房间，睡不醒。
shoegaze 这种风格在厦门是有受众，喜欢的人，会比我想象中的多。厦门其实是一个比较，不能说是开放，或者是说比较愿意接收新鲜事物的一个城市。年轻人他们其实对于西方音乐的敏锐度其实是很高的。麒麟三重奏它本身，我印象里应该都是厦门人，这一点其实就决定了这个他们是厦门乐队，它自然属性就会带着厦门的味道跟气质。而且他们有一点，我觉得是可以确定的，就是他们不是装出来的，或者是做出来的，他们就是这个样子。
就是我的形象有一个非常成功的一个塑造点，就是我一出去演出，他们就说：“哎，你肯定是厦门的乐队。”就比方说之前去那个成都演出嘛，然后有很多乐队一起演，然后我们大家都在休息室等调音，然后那个工作人员有一次好像我们就在这样子，然后下来了之后。就直接说厦门乐队啊，这肯定是厦门乐队，来，调音，就一下子就可以认得出来。就我们会比较休闲一些，就是我们平时穿着标配就是 T 恤短裤和拖鞋，不然就是花衬衫、短裤跟拖鞋。所以每次出去演出，别人一看我们就知道是厦门的乐队。这是我房间。然后像我会经常买很多优衣库的单品，就是衬衫，优衣库的衬衫，优衣库的衬衫，优衣库的衬衫，优衣库的衬衫，优衣库的裤子。我比较担心那个保安，真的。每一个音乐都有这种色彩感嘛，然后这种音乐的色彩感是最能，就是跟厦门的这种色彩是完全可以符合的。我记得当时也是有一个那个美国的一个 shoegaze 乐队来厦门演出，那个乐队演完了之后就那个乐队演完说厦门就是中国的洛杉矶，就他们就说厦门的那夕阳特别的，就可能跟洛杉矶这种夕阳有点像。然后跟厦门有的时候5点多它就开始日落了，跟厦门的夕阳也特别的应景。我觉得我听这种风格音乐对我生活方式有一个影响，就我特别喜欢有的时候无聊的时候就开个车出去兜个风啊，然后就听这种音乐。我之前工作的时候，下班的时候正好就5点多，然后每次都是开着车，然后听类似风格的音乐，这样子一路开回家，就觉得心里特别开心。大城市的人本身压力就会比较大，然后他们会更需要这种就是有点浪漫，然后又有点放松的风格的音乐。就比方说在东京就特别多的人喜欢这种风格的音乐。那其实我们就抛开音乐上来说，其实东京人的生活压力是特别大的，然后像上海人的生活压力也很大。但是我反而就是在这2个地方，乐迷真的特别的多，大家就是感觉特别喜欢听，而且每次演出的时候，他们都听得特别的投入。
想掉进无尽的梦中，寂寞
就是慢慢开始听一些有氛围感的东西，或者更自由、更抽象一点的东西了吧，就不只限于摇滚或者流行这样子。
我觉得自己还是有比较独特的个性，但是用中国的说法就是这个人比较自私。我爸是很支持我的，因为我爸他年轻是调音师，他就是之前是做音响工程的，所以他是懂音乐的。就他喜欢听交响乐啊什么，然后他也比较能理解我，然后我妈不是很能理解我，然后我的朋友对我这种就是对我想要的生活状态，很多也不理解，就是其实我身边的很多朋友都是本地人嘛，但是他们就觉得是说你这样子漂浮不定，每天这样子，其实人生会变得很没意义，他觉得你就应该找个老婆生个孩子，然后就每天在家里面这样，然后上个班赚个钱。这样敞篷跑车也不要买了，买了不实用，2个座位，你妈坐哪里，你孩子坐哪里，就每天他们就会这么跟我说。因为我的车也是我现在的车也是2个位置的，所以他们都很不理解我。然后但是我是觉得人还是就是你好不容易赚了点钱，你买辆车，你还不能买自己喜欢的车，那活得太悲哀了吧，对吧？对，所以我还是比较尊重自己的想法，所以我不会特别去管别人。
Thanks, Aaron. I thought that was really good. I think we've run out of time for questions. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more of that video because I found that really interesting. But I think there's a couple of really key things for me that I quite liked in there. The prioritization of some of those passion points, because I think that's quite difficult when we start to identify new areas, is that we don't know where to start. But using social and search data on one axis, obviously the size of the opportunity, but then also the younger Gen Z audience for looking for future growth, I think is really important as well. And I think the reason why I was kind of so entranced in the video is I don't think often enough we get to that level of understanding of people within the community anymore, or consumers in general. We don't go out and talk to them. And I think that depth of understanding has a lot of opportunities for brands in the way that they dress, the type of music that they listen to, their general lifestyle, and the rhythm of their life, I think, can be really important for a lot of brands that want to attach themselves to culture. So I want to thank you and the rest of the team that I know that is behind this bit of work, but for you for presenting today. And I really look forward to when you release the rest of the tribes and the rest of the videos as well. So thank you very much. And to everyone, thank you. And we'll see you next time on Live.
Thank you.